Hey everyone, what's up? Brooke here. I hope wherever you are in the world today is treating you well. So, in today's video, I'm going to be talking about alternate day fasting and talking about why it's important to have it as part of your tool belt, but it's not the end all be all, and why I think that eating a clean diet truly is like the pinnacle of health. But before I begin with today's video, if you are interested in these style videos that I put on my channel, please do leave a comment in the comment section below. Introduce yourself, let me know what you're about, let me know why you're here, and I look forward to seeing you around the channel. But with that said, let me jump into today's video. So, alternate day fasting. I've made several videos about it now. I think that alternate day fasting is amazing. I think fasting in longer intervals really does make a difference in your life. I have lost some weight from alternate fasting, especially when I follow it more frequently. However, I'm really starting to come to terms with the fact that alternate day fasting, intermittent fasting, any style fasting really does not trump eating a clean diet. I think that fasting is important because I believe that we are meant to go longer stretches of time without eating. But when you're fasting and then you're going back to the foods that are making you not feel well, are making you stay overweight and just groggy and really not allowing you to reach your goals, I do believe that it's not effective. It's not as effective as it could be, as opposed to eating clean and also fasting. I see a lot of different people on YouTube and, well, mainly YouTube, maybe Instagram too once in a while. I try to stay away from the reels because that's just like a whole other world that I have no time for. But when I'm looking up different fasting videos on YouTube, I do see a lot of people that, they'll fast, they'll do good, they'll do like, I'm doing a 40-hour fast, whatever. And then they'll jump back into like eating like Flintstone cereal or like steaks or just like heavy foods. And it I just feel like it kind of defeats the purpose. You know what I'm saying? Like you're fasting to get clean, to get your body running like the well-oiled machine that it is, that it's designed to be. But then you're going and you're eating like, half a cup of butter with like a bunch of fried stuff. Like I just can't see that really being like a good combo. You know what I'm saying? And the only time in my life, and if I'm being completely honest and transparent and everything about this, is that the only time in my life that I've ever felt really, really good, that I'm not craving garbage, is when I'm not eating garbage, when I'm following a strict whole foods plant-based diet. I said plant-based. Whole foods plant-based diet. My problem is now, like, so I work really hard, right? And everybody works really hard, but with my job specifically, I'm working like heavy physical manual labor. And a lot of times I'm like so hungry and like just out of habit of going to like my favorite small natural food stores and buying like, I'll buy like a small latte or I'll buy a cookie or these badass muffins that they make behind the counter that I keep telling them to stop putting out because I just eat them. It's like, it's out of habit that I'll eat like this. And, I'll eat it. I'll be like, oh, well, I'm fasting tomorrow. So it doesn't really matter because the calories would come off. But it's not really about the calories after a certain period of time. It's really about like your discipline and also the addiction that these foods have on people. I know I'm not the only one that feels like this. There's a bunch of guys in my class that'll eat Taco Bell like 5 times out of a week and say that's like their main course of food. Taco Bell, White Castle, Burger King, McDonald's, freaking all these other places, Sonic that just opened up not too long ago by me. And I'm finding that like people have real food addictions. And I think that fasting, while it is amazing, it's fantastic, it's so important for you, it really does give your body a chance to rest and heal and do all the things it needs to do. It's not going to stop cravings if you constantly go back to the foods that made you crave that to begin with, right? That make you crave eating cookies, eating pastas, eating breads, eating fried foods. I just have like a real problem with it. And if I'm being totally honest, in like this little like, this series or whatever I'm doing here on this channel, I'm just trying to share my life pretty much. If I'm being completely honest, I have such a sugar addiction, like such a sugar addiction. And it doesn't come with fruit, right? It's not like when I eat fruit, I crave cookies. It's more or less like if I'm eating even like, let's say, a salad that has like bread in it, or I'll have bread on the side or like heavy croutons or whatever. If it's really fatty and not with good fats, I'll start craving like, oh, I could have a veggie burger, or I could do this, I could do that. And I've mentioned this in other videos, but I have to practice like complete abstinence. I cannot eat these style foods because I just crave it. Like I'm always going to be an addict. I think at 36 I'm realizing that like I just can't have these foods in my life. And I don't eat a lot of chips. And you know what's crazy too is that I don't even like eat a bag of cookies. It's not like I'm like a big fat cookie monster in my bed, you know, and I'm just like, you know, no, with a bunch of cookies. But like I'll eat cookies and I'll eat them like daily, you know? And it sucks because I know they're not good for me. But I'll use like the guise of fasting to be like, oh, it's okay because I'll just fast them. I'll just fast them off. But I'm not breaking the addiction and I'm also not losing the weight that I know I could lose if I'm following a strong, you know, plant-based diet. And I have a crazy story too. Like during my wedding, granted I was a lot younger, I was shielded with the veil of youth. I was 21 years old and I remember when we were like going for cake testing. I didn't even want to taste the cake because at this point in my life, I was following a very strict raw vegan diet and it was about 90% raw vegan. And that happened a couple times in my 20s. Even a few years ago, like when I was around like 32, 33 for about a year, I was following a strict diet, lost most of my weight, not all of it, not pre-baby weight, but I did lose a lot of weight. And during my wedding, I remember thinking like, I don't even want to taste test because I even knew back then if I taste tested, it's going to like open Pandora's box to being like, oh, you can have Oreos and all these vegan things or whatever. And side note, just because you're vegan doesn't mean you're healthy. And I think people need to realize that. You don't go vegan and automatically become healthy. You go, you're vegan and you eat well and you make, you know, intelligent choices with your food choices and options and things that you have around you that makes you healthy. Something that's vegan does not automatically make it healthy. And I've been vegan for a long time. I've been a vegetarian a long time, most of my life, if not my entire life at this point. But, you know, even at my wedding, I didn't want to eat the cake. I didn't want to have, like, the red bamboo food from the city. That's my favorite in the world. Talk about vegan soul food. That place is, like, amazing. And I remember thinking, like, I'm going to break the seal if I have this food. And I did. And it's been, like, just a battle of being tired, of you know, wanting to like get energy. A lot of times, like a trick that I would do when I was a delivery driver or working really late or doing whatever is I would eat something because it would keep me up. It would keep me like stimulated. And I'm just finding that it's like the yo-yo of going back and forth, and now using fasting as an excuse to be like, hey, listen, I'm slowly losing weight, but I'm not losing the weight that I want to, and I'm not feeling the way that I want to. Because the weight is just a byproduct of a healthy body. You know, that will come off when you eat better, when you're fasting, when you're doing things like that. But specifically when you're eating better, that will come off and it will affect the way your body interacts with itself, and it you know, it just moves as a machine that it's meant to be. So I wanted to really just like talk about that and hammer that thought in that alternate day fasting is great. It's such a great thing to practice. It's such a great practice to implement into your life. But the most important thing is eating a clean diet. And you can eat meat certainly and eat clean. You know, it's not about just being vegan. I'm just sharing what I do because I'm vegan for the animals. I'm an ethical vegan in that sense. So I always thought, like, even as a kid, I'm like, oh, well, I'm always going to be unhealthy because I'll never eat an animal. And I talk to a lot of meat eaters and people like that say they respect that, you know. So I'm not hitting it from the angle of just like the health aspect, because as a vegan, I'm not healthy. I'm not taking care of my body the way it should be due to outside circumstances and also inside. Being busy, being overtired, being overworked, being stressed out, being anxious. There's just so many things that I use food as a vice to help heal in my life, and it's not doing me any favors, you know. And what fasting was doing was really helping me to break the change of this food addiction, the chains rather. But it stopped because the longer I go without the practice of fasting, or even when I do fast, if I'm like, all right, I'm not eating this weekend, that Monday I'm hitting the ground running. I'm getting caffeine, I'm doing this, that, and the third. I'm like not taking care of myself the way I'm supposed to be. And it's jamming me up. It's jamming me up with my goals. It's jamming me up with what I want to do. So I'm like dragging my feet. I'm like, oh, great. I gotta just eat clean. Like, and there's a part of me, like, there's a lot of food that I like that's not like raw vegan, you know, and I appreciate, and then I love that's finally vegan. I've been waiting freaking my entire adult life to eat half this stuff coming out that's now like a vegan version of it, but it's like, nope. back to the garden. You know what I'm saying? Like that's, you gotta eat like healthy. You gotta eat clean. And that's my biggest advice to people when they're following other influencers, or not that I would consider myself an influencer. I'm definitely a plumbing apprentice with 3 kids that's just trying to be the best version of myself. But I'm someone that's sharing my life online. And I think when other people are looking at those with channels, bigger, way bigger channels that are, you know, they're like doing the alternate day fasting, or they're doing the fasting and then they're showing them eating big meals. And it's like, listen, like when push comes to shove, a lot of people don't stick with alternate day fasting for a long period of time. There's very few people that I know that will stick with a good fasting regime for many years. And I do know people that do. It's more like intermittent fasting, but it's not like the long alternate day fasting for years and years and years, because a lot of times people fall off because a lot of times their diet is not matching the energy they're putting into the alternate day fasting. So I guess this video really is just to say that I have to give in to the gods of Whole Foods and pretty much start eating really, really clean. Start eating clean. Start going back to my roots. It's the best that I've ever felt. I just know that like I'm so addicted to like the feeling of going to the store and like getting a latte, getting a muffin, getting like some stuff that is heavy that I'll eat. I don't even know, like I guess veggie burgers and like vegan wings that I freaking love with blue cheese, my favorite. But that stuff makes me feel like crap, and it's like crazy because like you'll want it, right? You'll go 2 days without it because you've just been fasting, and then you'll go to eat it, and then you feel like crap again, and then you're like, well, I'll fast, and it's like this constant cycle that's just not good for me. So it's not good for my mental health. It's not good for my physical health. And the older I get, I'm like, I need to be as strong as possible in every stage of my life because, you know, like I was saying on this podcast episode today I was on earlier, like we don't make it out the end. Like we're all not going to, you know, make it out the end of this, right? So like it's important to feel as good as you can for as long as you can, and enjoy the vitality in the life that you have, whether you're 36, 46, 56, and so forth. I want to be as healthy as I can and have as much energy as I can in every single stage of my life, and I don't want a goddamn veggie burger holding me back, you know what I'm saying? Or like a bunch of fries or cookies, for as great and glorious as they are. I can't rock with it anymore. So in my personal opinion, in my small experience, let's say, of doing the alternate day fasting, but my, you know, bigger experience, or more experience rather, of following a plant-based lifestyle, I truly believe that saying that abs are made in the kitchen. You cannot outwork a bad diet. You can't outfast a bad diet. You can't out exercise a bad diet. And you just can't outrun a bad diet. You just can't do it. Like anything you do, you can't dance around the fact that you have to eat clean in order to lose weight. And of course, there's going to be those people that are like, well, I eat, you know, 9 boxes of Flintstone cereal every single week and I'm shredded. And it's like, listen, everybody's built differently, right? But that's going to catch up with you at some point, whether that be with aging you faster, taxing your organs, even with the fasting, in my opinion, because you're putting in bad fuel. You're putting in tons of sugar, garbage, you know, pesticides, chemicals, dyes, all preservatives, all this stuff, you know? I think it's important that people really think about that, but it's just so freaking addicting. I feel like it's just more addicting than I don't know. I feel like it's a drug. I feel like bad food is definitely a drug. Especially because, like, let's say if you're eating, like, French fries, right? It's hitting, like, different hormones. That doesn't even make any sense. It's hitting different, like, I lost my train of thought. But it's hitting different dopamine factors, rather, in your body, in your mind. And that does have, like, specifically sugar, does have the same effect on your brain as cocaine does. And it actually lights your friggin' brain up like a Christmas tree, as opposed to cocaine that focuses on certain, you know, central systems or whatever. I'm not a scientist. I'm just a plumbing apprentice. I'm just sharing what I'm going through. So with that said, I just wanted to share that I believe that fasting is important. I think that fasting creates a healthy body. It helps the systems move forward. It helps clean things up, right? It's like the little janitors that are going in your body. But it's, you know, it's only easy to clean because of the food that you're putting in your body. If you're going to eat crap, you're going to feel like crap consistently. You might feel okay when you're fasting and then you're going back. And if not, anything else, I think that taxes your body probably more, right? You're fasting, eating like crap, you're fasting again. Your body's constantly breaking down this garbage. Like it's not ever getting deeper in the process because you keep shoveling garbage in it. And I'm speaking to myself specifically as well. But I think that when you eat clean And eating clean looks different to different people. I think when you're eating lots of fruits and vegetables, regardless of your diet, I think it's really important. And I think it works as kind of like bristles to help loosen things up. So when the fasting comes in, it's easier to clean. That's just my opinion. That's just my 2 cents. And that's just what the terms that I've come to in my life and what I'm trying to do with myself and my health, my wellness, my fitness, and so forth, is that I want to operate at a higher level. I want to feel better. I want to truly feel like at my peak at that stage of life. I'm not going to feel like how I did when I was 20, but, you know, I want to feel good. I definitely want to feel good. So I'm going to just end this video with, you know, if you're fasting, if you're following a fasting protocol, stay with it because fasting is important. But also know that jumping back from fasting to eating poorly, fasting to eating poorly, or even allowing a little bit in, at least for me, does not help. It does not serve me. And at this point in my life, I'm done with things that don't serve me. So if you look back at my older videos about fasting and alternate day fasting, I do mention a lot about eating clean. But the problem is, like, fasting for me has definitely been kind of like a scapegoat, because when I don't eat clean, then I use that as an excuse. Like, oh, well, I just fasted for 2 days, so what do I care if I eat, you know, 3 bags of wings or whatever the hell it is, right? But it doesn't kill the addiction. And the only thing that'll kill the addiction is to stop pumping the addicting foods inside your body. It's going to take a little bit. I'm going to actually be, where's my journal? It's somewhere. Oh, I don't think I have it in here. There's like, in the back of a Hobonichi journal, I think there's like this little tracker. It might be the weekly, but I'm pretty sure it's the cousin. And it's these little trackers that you can use. And I already try to do daily trackers. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. But I'm always kicking my butt to like do the things that I want to do, right? So I'm always trying to track things and see where I'm at. But this specifically I'm going to be using for sugar and I'm going to be using for bread. So I'll probably show that on Instagram. So if you're not already following me on Instagram, do check it out at Meetbrooke, MEETBROOKE. Because someone already has the original handle, and I'll show you like the trackers that I'm using and things like that to follow like my habits and really get good habit building going with eating well and eating clean. And I'm going to stay away from the sugar, stay away from the bread. Those are the 2 things that I have to stay away from. I have to look at them like the cancer that they are, because sugar does feed candida. It does throw your pH off in your body. I do believe that a lot of people are allergic to bread. They're sensitive to gluten. And even with like gluten-free, like, yeah, that's an option, but I don't want that stuff in my body. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, this video is getting super long. I'm just venting, but I wanted to share this with you all. So this is what I'm going to be doing: eating clean, focusing more on eating clean than focusing on fasting, but using fasting as like kind of a shaper. You know what I'm saying? Like eating well and using fasting to help really just clean up everything, run my body more optimally, and hopefully to feel better, because that's the biggest thing. Like I know I could take medication and it would just stop all my symptoms. You know what I mean? Like I know I'd feel like, oh, I'd feel great, or I feel better, but it's only ever covering symptoms, as many of you know. It doesn't get to the root of the problem. And sometimes getting to the root of the problem takes a lot of digging. So for those who are watching it and they're like, oh, come on, lady. You know, you post about this, you post about that, you post about the fasting. Trust me, it's a deep process. It's a deep process when you're really trying to, you know, become the person that you want to become the best version of yourself. You have to constantly dig. And then once you hit the root, once you get there, you got to rip that goddamn thing out. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm currently working on. I really, really want to be a motivation for other people that are going through a hard time, that may not want to share the struggles that they're dealing with. I really want to be transparent. I really want to share my journey, because one day, I'm telling you, I'm going to get to a point where I'm going to be like, thank God I'm here, you know? And I'll always strive to do better in my life. But when I get to a point of being comfortable with my weight, comfortable with how I feel, happy with how I feel, I hope that people will look back on these videos and be like, well, she started here. She didn't just get to that point. It took a lot of work, it took a lot of digging, it took a lot of reflection and discipline to get to where she wanted to go. So with that said, I'll let you guys go. I hope you all have a great day, and I will check you back again on the next video. Take care, friends.